Hi everyone, I'm Tami from the blog Nutmeg Notebook, and I teach people how to cook following a whole food plant-based diet. So we also say we're SOS free, which stands for salt, oil, and sugar free. And I'd have to say that we're low sodium. We're not no sodium. There's sodium naturally found in whole plant foods. And we do use a few condiments that have a little bit of sodium in them from time to time. So I get the question a lot about, what do you guys eat in a day? So if you follow my Nutmeg Notebook Instagram or Facebook account, you'll see that several times a week I do post what I ate in a day. It's usually from the day before, but I try to post that and give you links if I've included recipes, and tell you specifically what's in the food that you see in those pictures. So follow me on Nutmeg Notebook on my Instagram and my Nutmeg Notebook Facebook page if you want to get a view into what a day of food looks like. I'm also known for batch cooking because I batch prep food ahead on the weekends for the following week. We have just found that that saves a tremendous amount of time and frustration. So I have some blog posts and I have a video all about batch cooking. But what I'm going to do today is I'm going to show you what we do with that batch cooked food, because that's another question that I get a lot, is what do you do with it all? Now, Tom's come in and sat down. You want to say hi to the folks,
Hello,
Tom?
everybody. I'll be over here on the computer monitoring the chat stream. So if you have a question for Tami, then go ahead and type it in. I'll watch for those. Sometimes I'll kind of save them back a little bit if she's in the middle of a thought. And if it pertains to exactly what she's talking about, I might try to interrupt her. So anyway, welcome. And
Yeah, I forgot to tell you, this is called Tuesday with Tami and sometimes Tom. And we've been doing this, what is this, the 6th or 7th?
Well, we had live shows before this one, but this is our 7th in a series of Tuesday with Tami, yeah.
Yeah, so what we're trying to do is tackle topics each week that we get a lot of comments or questions about. That way I can do a video and hopefully answer all those questions at one time instead of individually repeating myself a lot. So I wanted to talk to you too about, if you haven't started batch cooking yet, how you can pull together some meals quickly. And we all have things that happen in our lives that disrupt what we normally would do. Maybe we normally would be prepping on the weekend, but we were gone for the weekend, or some family event happened that took us away from being able to prep for the week ahead. But what you can do is you can keep a well-stocked kitchen so that you'll always have something that you can put together to make a meal. Now, Tom came up with the idea of calling all of our batch cooking and our prepped food as our fast food, because there isn't any place that we can go to fast food wise and go through a drive-through and get a healthy whole plant-based meal. And so we really do have to prep and do that ourselves to make sure that we can always have a healthy meal. There's something called decision fatigue, and you probably will all know what I'm talking about. So in the morning, our resolve is pretty strong, and we know we're going to have a good day. By the end of the day, a lot of times, especially if we're talking about people who are trying to lose weight, by the end of the day, some of that resolve seems to dissipate. And maybe we don't always make the best decision at the evening meal. Why are you smirking?
Oh, this really resonates with me in particular.
Oh, okay.
So the 5 o'clock, open the fridge and what can I fix that's easy? So
that's right. So we've been making decisions all day long. It starts in the morning when the alarm clock goes off, and we make the choice of, well, am I going to hit snooze, or I'm going to push stop and actually get up and get going. And then it's, you know, what am I having for breakfast and what am I going to wear to work today? And then you get to work and it's all the decisions you have to make at work. And so by the time you get home at 6 o'clock or whatever time it is, you know, you're done making decisions, you're tired. And that is when we become a little bit weaker and make not so good choices. And our brain is already hardwired to seek out the highest calorie density food that we can find for the least amount of energy. And so if that's a frozen vegan pizza that you have in the freezer, then if you don't have food prep, that might be what you go and grab. So the first thing I would say is to have a clean environment. If the frozen pizza is not in the freezer, you can't eat it. And if you have to drive someplace to go get it, you've got time to decide not to do that, and maybe you'll eat something that's healthier. So I want to show you a few products that are kind of nice just to keep on hand, so that you can throw together a quick and easy meal if you haven't had time to batch prep. Now, one of those things are these amazing shelf-stable packets of rice and quinoa. These are Lundberg brand. It's a rice that's grown in California. It's our favorite brand. And this is a brown jasmine. And the ingredients are just rice. So you have to be really careful when you go shopping to look at the ingredients, because so many of them will have oil in them. And then you can just heat this up. You can heat it up in the microwave. It has instructions on the back of it on how to heat it up on the stove top, and I'll tell you, how you can use these. Then this one is a wild rice blend that's super delicious. Again, it's just rice in the ingredients. There's no added sodium, no added oil, there's no broth added. And then this one is the California basmati and quinoa mix. So these are also great for travel. So if you're going on a trip, you can toss these in your suitcase. If you're going on a road trip, put them in your bag to go. So we have those. Then there are the shelf-stable beans. Of course, you can make your own beans a lot cheaper than buying them, but it's nice to keep some of these on hand so that you always have some beans, because beans and rice can make a meal. So we like these. These are from Whole Foods. These are no salt added. But I have to tell you that I do buy beans at Costco, because the organic beans at Costco are such a great value. These are not sodium free. They have 85 milligrams of sodium in half a cup. But when we use these canned beans that have salt in them, we rinse them really well, which washes away some of the salt. I looked it up one time on the internet, and today I can't remember how much it said that gets washed away when you rinse them. Then there also is shredded jackfruit. This is the young jackfruit, so it's not sweet, and it is so delicious. It takes on the flavor of whatever you put with it. So this is all ready to go. It's in a little pack inside, and so you can just open it up and season it however you want. So between these three things alone, you can put together a really delicious meal. So with the rice, of course, you can add beans, any kind of beans, to any of these rice packs. You can add greens, steamed greens. Let's say you haven't shopped. Have some freezer food, have some frozen vegetables in there. It could be mixed vegetables, it can be frozen spinach, it could be frozen chopped kale. If you have an onion, you can toss an onion in your skillet, water saute it. That'll create a lot of flavor. And then you can add the rice, you can add the beans, you can add the jackfruit. Then if you want, you can flavor it. Cumin, if you want to make it Mexican. I feel like you have a question or something.
No.
Oh, okay. You can add some seasonings to it, and then you can have a wonderful meal just out of this. You can take a can of black beans or a box of black beans, as in this case, and you can make an instant black bean soup. I should have said you need probably a piece of paper and a pen to write these things down.
We're getting a question. We'll be linking the things you're talking about when you purchase. So some of these things are from the grocery store. I don't typically link those.
No, but this is also available at Amazon. So let me tell you this. This locally, the only place I have found this out at is at our Sprouts store. And it's like kind of like a Trader Joe's, sort of. And so they sell it there, but it's also on Amazon. And we have an Amazon affiliate page. So Tom will link to our Amazon affiliate page, and we have the jackfruit on there. Okay. There's one that's, this is shredded, and I think there's one that's cubed. And I like either one. They're both delicious. So, you know, you can make like barbecue out of it. If you have the California balsamic, smoky barbecue vinegar, oh my gosh, put it with this and onions and mushrooms and you have an amazing barbecue. It's so fantastic. Okay.
Oh, here it is.
So,
okay.
And Tom,
I'll link the jackfruit in the description down below the video.
Tom will link to that because you can get that on Amazon. And I was talking about the black bean soup. So you can just take a can or a box of this black beans, and if you have the no salt added, don't drain it. Put it in a saucepan. If I was just making it for me, I would just do the one box, but if it was for the two of us, then I'd do 2 boxes of it. Add a little bit of veggie broth, and then add some salsa. And I do make my own salsa, which is Tami's Easy Salsa. Seriously, this takes 5 minutes to make. And Tom can link to that as well. The recipe's on the blog. It's called Tami's Easy Red Salsa. And this particular one uses fire roasted canned tomatoes, onion, cilantro, lime juice, stuff that you have on hand, and it's super delicious. So, you know, do about a half a cup or to taste in the black beans, a little bit of veggie broth, a little bit of cumin, chili powder if you like it. Heat that up, you've got a soup. Right then, bam, easy. And then if you want to make it a little bit heartier, take some of the rice, put the rice in the bottom of the bowl, and put that easy instant black bean soup right on top of the rice, and you've got a great meal. And if you need to feed the family, open up several cans of the beans, use a bigger pot, and just make more. Super easy.
Did you cover what kind of veggie broth you used? I didn't.
Oh, no, I didn't. But when I buy the veggie broth, and I don't have any right now to show you, but we buy the Engine 2 because it has the lowest sodium. I think it's 35 milligrams of sodium per cup. And most of the low sodium vegetable broths that are on the market are around 135 to 140 milligrams of sodium per cup. You can use water instead. You can make your own veggie broth. If you just Google it, you'll find all kinds of recipes. Some use scraps. I know Chef AJ saves up her vegetable scraps when she's peeling onions or peeling carrots, or, you know, people save the ends of the celery, all of that you would normally put in the trash, and then they put it in a gallon size Ziploc bag. When the gallon size bag gets full, and they put that in the freezer, when it's full, then they dump that in their Instant Pot and add water and cook it. And I don't know for how long. I've actually never made it. I just buy mine, and a lot of times I just use water because with all the seasonings and everything that I add, it seems to have plenty of flavor. So, and the Whole Foods is the only place that carries the Engine 2. And someone told me there is some other brand that you can buy that has no added sodium. There's probably going to be a little bit of sodium just because the vegetables naturally have some sodium, but I don't remember the brand.
What was it with the salsa that you wanted to link for? I missed that.
Oh, Tami's Easy Red Salsa.
Oh, the recipe itself. Okay, thank you.
It's on the blog.
Yeah, I'll find it. Thank you.
I thought I left it open for you, but maybe I didn't. I try to give him some links ahead of time just to make it easier, but I didn't get everything in there. So that makes for an easy meal. Then something that we really love that we discovered when we were on vacation a few years ago. We were going up into Washington, we were Oregon, Washington, and even into Canada. And it was called Nourish bowls. I had never heard of these before. So what it is it's a bowl full of rice, some steamed greens, and some beans. And then they would have a choice of like a sauce that you could put over the top or a salad dressing. But Tom and I just like a little bit of vinegar. And these were called Nourish bowls. And on many of the vegan restaurants that we went to, on the menu, it would say, we believe that everyone should have access to healthy, delicious food. You know, the price of this Nourish bowl is $7. But if that's more than you can afford, please let us know and you can pay whatever you can afford. I loved that. Plus, they're so delicious. So when we got home, we started making our own Nourish bowls. So you can do that with the already made rices if you want, and you can use frozen vegetables, you can use fresh. So if we're making it and heating it up from things that we've batched cooked, then we'll just put the cold rice and the uncooked greens and the beans all in the bowl and then put a lid on it and we will heat it up in our microwave. I know some of you don't use microwaves. We feel perfectly safe using microwaves. We have read what Dr. Greger has to say about all the studies he's read on them. If you go to nutritionfacts.org and watch his videos about microwaves, then you can make up your own mind on what you want to do. But you can certainly heat that also up on top of the stove in a saucepan and get it nice and hot. And then we like to just put vinegar over the top of that. It's super simple and delicious. It's really just kind of just, I don't know, it is nourishing. I guess that's why it has that name. And the super fun to eat, and you can make them taste different by the different flavored vinegars that you use. You can use different beans. I've even made it with potatoes instead of rice. You can use quinoa, millet, you know, whatever kind of grain you like. Yes?
Couple of questions.
Yes.
What kind of, that's a big subject. What kind of California balsamic vinegars do you use? If you go back in our video library to one of the earlier Tuesdays with Tami, like the second or third one, it's actually entitled, It's All About the Vinegar. So if you go back in our library, when we're done with this video, you'll find a whole hour on vinegar. Wonderful and large subject.
Yeah.
And then on the filtered water, we do drink filtered water out of our built-in filter in the refrigerator for our beverages. We are fortunate where we live. Our water supply is actually Sierra snowmelt. And so just automatically we've got very good water here because it's coming from fresh fallen snow out of the mountains. And then we filter it. So we feel very blessed with a good water supply here in Northern California.
We sure do. Okay. All right. So let me check my notes. I do notes ahead. Just you guys, just because there's so much that I always want to tell you. So I tried to keep some notes. Okay, so here's some more ideas on the no if you haven't cooked ahead. So you can microwave a potato really fast. So one of my favorite meals, well, second, because I love the Nourish bowls, but I love a stuffed baked potato. So even if you don't have potatoes prepped ahead of time, you can bake a potato in just minutes in the microwave. I shouldn't say bake it, you can cook it in the microwave. And then I love to top it with black beans, frozen corn. If I have fresh cilantro, some fresh cilantro, and some salsa. And that is one of the most delicious meals. And it's so filling because you've got the starch of the potato, you have the starch from the corn, you have the starch from the black beans, and then you have the tomatoes from the salsa. And it's so yummy. And just, oh my gosh, it's so filling. I love a meal that leaves me satisfied. So that's super easy to do. You can cook corn in the Breville Smart Oven Air or whatever kind of air fryer you have. And I like to do like a whole veggie meal. So I'll put the corn in, some potatoes cut up in there, and I do use the pre-baked potatoes, and then I'll do broccoli and mushrooms and some red peppers, whatever I have. I'll just cover the whole tray full, and that's my meal. And the corn is my starch and the potatoes are my starch, and then I'll either sprinkle it with a little bit of Table Tasty, or I'll have maybe some homemade ketchup. I have a recipe for homemade ketchup on the blog, and that is so delicious, and it's so colorful and beautiful and filling. Super easy to do that. Let's see, what else? Oh, quinoa. Quinoa cooks in 15 minutes. So if you get home and you don't have anything ready, if you take quinoa and put it on the stovetop, it will cook. Bless you, honey. It'll cook in 15 minutes. If you do it in the Instant Pot, it takes around about the same amount of time, but you don't have to watch it. I think the cook time for quinoa is like 5 minutes in the Instant Pot. And so then here's the great thing about quinoa. Quinoa is good hot or cold. It's also good sweet or savory. So if you're at nighttime, gonna have it savory for dinner, I have about 4 different types of salads on the blog. And Tom, I've got a link open that says salads for the blog, and you can just scroll down that page. He'll post that link, and you can scroll down that page. So you can add a little bit of fruit to the quinoa. You can add beans, onions, bell peppers. If you want it to be spicy, you can add a little bit of jalapeno. You can season it with cumin. I have a quinoa tabbouleh if you like Mediterranean flavors. So you can add, tomatoes and cucumbers and a little bit of lime juice or lemon juice. And you can have dinner really on the table in less than 30 minutes and have it be satisfying and absolutely delicious. You can cook that quinoa and you can add salsa and beans to it. Or just if you don't have salsa, add canned tomatoes and add some cumin and some chili powder, and you can, make like a skillet meal out of it. Super easy to do.
So what was the salad? I have a search here for salads.
Yep, that should be it. Yep, for salads. And so if you just take that, that link there, and that way you can see there's lots of different quinoa salads on there. And if you can't have quinoa, I know some people are allergic to quinoa, you can substitute millet and use millet instead. So, and I buy the pre-washed quinoa from Costco. It's organic, it's pre-washed, so you don't even have to rinse it, and super easy, and it's delicious. Okay, and I know it's not technically a grain, it's a seed. Also, zoodles, the zucchini noodles. I did a video recently where I showed you how to make a vegan Alfredo sauce and the zoodles. And it takes like 5 minutes to make zucchini noodles with a spiralizer. So if you have that, and if you don't have the Alfredo made, you can buy a no oil marinara sauce. So at Whole Foods, they have the Engine 2 brand, and you can heat that up. You could add lentils to it if you wanted to, or white beans. White beans actually lend themselves really well to Italian flavors. So if you don't have a no oil marinara, then just open up a can of tomato sauce or diced tomatoes and give those a whirl in the blender or a mini food processor and add some Italian seasoning to it. When you're done with that, you can add some beans, or if you have cooked lentils, you can add the lentils, and that makes a wonderful sauce to put over the zoodles. All right, now I want to show you, frozen veggie burgers. Okay, so I like to make veggie burgers ahead of time, and I'll do like 2 dozen at a time, and then I will freeze them. And my favorite recipe isn't on the blog yet, so one of these days I'll have time to do that. But whatever your favorite veggie burger recipe is, make them up ahead of time, and then you can wrap them individually and put them in the freezer. And then you can do burgers and fries for a really quick meal. I even showed, I think last week sometime, I did a meal where I did in the air fryer, the crisp lid air fryer, the one that turns your pressure cooker into a little air fryer. I showed how I did a frozen veggie burger, corn on the cob, and a potato cut up in there. And in 20 minutes, I had my dinner. I put it all in there and did a couple chores while it was air frying, and then I had the most delicious meal. So that's also a hit with kids, the burgers and fries.
How long does this also last in the fridge typically?
Well, I usually eat it up in about probably 3 to 4 days. So we don't usually have it longer than that. So I would think that it's probably good for about 4 days, would be my guess.
Okay.
So if you can't eat it up that fast, cut the recipe in half. And if you have half a can of tomatoes left over and don't have something to do with them, like you could just toss them in with some greens, or, you know, if you're sauteing something, toss them in that. But you can freeze them. So put them in a small container and put them in the freezer.
Another question from Lisa. And Lisa, you're going to get kind of an umbrella answer to this, I would suspect, in terms of what are a few of our go-to meals for weight loss.
All of the things I've been talking about.
Yeah, the umbrella answer. Our entire way of eating lends itself to weight loss. Actually, without weight loss like being the focus, it's just the food that we eat, and we get to eat quite a bit of it.
We do.
So
this is all of these foods that I'm talking about are low calorie density foods. They're high in nutrients, but they are 600 calories or less per pound. Everything that I'm showing you. And that's the way that I eat. That's how I had to eat in order to lose my weight. Oh, I should have gotten my before picture. So that's how I had to eat to lose my weight. And that's how I have to continue to eat to keep the weight off. Because when you get smaller, you need less calories. So a lot of people write to me and they ask, oh, you know, so when you are on maintenance, did you just add food back in so you wouldn't keep losing? No, I didn't. I'm still eating pretty much the way I ate when I lost the weight because I weigh a lot less. I need a lot less calories now than I did when I weighed 174 pounds. And so I still eat a low-fat diet. I still eat under 600 calories or under per pound on the calorie density chart, and that works for me.
you could say that one thing that's built into every day is that 1 pound of salad, usually chopped. That, I guess you could describe as a go-to meal. We eat it in various forms and themes and flavor profiles, but for each of us, there's one meal, whether it's lunch or dinner, that is a pound of chopped salad, either taken to an Italian theme, Hispanic theme, or a spring fresh greens theme. So that's probably a key,
Yeah, the key is to look at, and there's Chef AJ has a video on calorie density, and so does I'm gonna lose his name, the registered dietitian. Search calorie density on YouTube and you will find videos about calorie density. That opened up a huge window for me into how to choose the foods that I was going to eat. Once I understood calorie density, it was like, oh, light bulb moment. Now I know how I should eat. Okay, so all of these foods are excellent for weight loss. I'll show it. You like that one. So this was me before.
Or here.
Are you in there?
There's
you are.
this one, yeah.
Yeah.
We keep debating which one of these is the best before picture.
I don't know.
I
think this one is, and he thinks that one is. But anyway, so you can see, I'm 5'4", and I weighed like 46 pounds, I think, more than I do now. And I'll step back. So eating like this is what got me to this size, and it's what keeps me at this size. So now I want to talk to you about our batch cooking, and I usually post on Monday or Tuesday or so. I usually post what I cooked over the weekend to help us get through the week. And I do have some video on batch cooking, and I have several blog posts on Nutmeg Notebook about batch cooking to show you what I do. And the whole concept is just making more food than you can eat for the day. So that way you don't have to keep revisiting it. So let me show you some things that we make. Now, the one thing that I always make are salads. So I concentrate on getting two things done on the weekend. One is prepping salads for the week, because we both eat a salad every day. So we need at least 10 salads to get us through, Monday through Friday. And starch, because as long as I have my salads and I have starch ready and I have beans in stock, then I know that I'm good for the week. I can get through the week. Plus, every time I batch cook, we freeze things ahead of time. So I always know that I have soup, stew, or chili to fall back on in my freezer. So this is one of the salads. I will pop it open for you so you can see. And I made these, I think I did salads on Saturday. See, I can't even remember. I think I did the salads on Saturday, and then these get us through the whole week. So one meal every day for us is a salad. So that's 7 meals that I don't even have to think about what are we going to eat, which, talk about taking away decision fatigue. That's it. The more you can automate how you eat, the less stressful it is. So I just know, I'm having salad for lunch. And of course, I add to this. If you look at my Instagram and Facebook account, you can see how we make the salads different every day, and what
this is just the foundation. The
right,
Instagram videos and the blog posts will go into much more depth on what you can do with this wonderful foundation.
Right, because this salad is not going to keep you full. This is like maybe 150 calories, and this is not going to keep you full and give you energy to get through the day.
But it does fill you up.
It does fill you up, but you have to add some starch to it. We follow a starch-based diet, and just the same as Dr. McDougall and Chef AJ and the True North Health Center in Santa Rosa promote. And so you need to add lentils, beans, potatoes, quinoa, rice, something. You need to add things to it in order to make it filling. So that's one thing that we do, and that's our salads. And I have lots of posts on the blog too about salads. Then we always cook our potatoes. So recently we've just been doing the Japanese sweet potatoes that you can see here, and the Yukon Gold potatoes. And I like to get the bags that have the little ones in them, because we do something called smashed potatoes, and it's our favorite way to cook these in an air fryer. And we have a video and a blog post on that. And we did a whole video a few weeks ago all about potatoes. We tell you how to cook them, what kinds we like to cook, what temperature, how we store them, and all of that. So I'm not going to go into that today. And then we have our Japanese sweet potatoes. Tom roasted up a kabocha squash. He also makes rice for us, and we portion it out into these 4-cup containers. He makes a great big pot of it, and then we portion it out and we freeze all except one container, and we put one container in the fridge, and then when this is used up, we get out another one. I also made taco lentils. This is from my Mexican Fiesta cooking webinar that you actually can purchase, but if you don't have it or don't want to purchase it, I also have a lentil taco recipe on the blog that you can have for free. Then Tom requested that I make Chef AJ's cauliflower bisque soup. This is on page 201, I believe, in her book, The Secrets to Ultimate Weight Loss. But she subs cauliflower for whatever vegetable she calls for on that recipe in her cookbook, and then adds like chipotle powder to it. And I think she has a video showing her making that. Then this is not my recipe, but this is one of our favorite chilies, and this is the black and red lentil chili from Fat Free Vegan Kitchen blog. And we almost always keep some of this in our freezer because we love it and there's a lot you can do with it, and I'm going to tell you about that. And then these two things, these are not recipes that are on the blog. This is a Mexican taco filling, and then this is a very thick and hearty, I don't know what to call it. It's like an Italian sauce, I guess. And I've developed these recipes for a special project that we're working on. So, so I made the taco lentils so I could tell you about those and how we use those. And I use those kind of interchangeably with these as well. So here we go. So let's start with the black and red lentil chili. It's great to have it as is the first night. And we like to serve it in a bowl of brown rice on the bottom. And then on top of it, we like to put a couple thick slices of the oven roasted kabocha squash. And I got that idea because I was able to go to the Modern Love vegan restaurant that's really quite famous in Omaha, Nebraska, with my mom, and we had their chili, and that's how they served it. And I loved the combination of the sweet kabocha squash with the spicy chili. It was fantastic. Then on this gets thicker, this black and red lentil chili gets thicker as it sits. So then the next night, or maybe 2 nights later, you can make some chips, and Tom will tell you how to make your own corn chips in the air fryer.
Well, we have the Breville air fryer over here. So the tray in there on the air fry level inside will hold 5 corn tortillas cut into eighths, and the setting is 375 degrees for 9 minutes, not 1 minute more, 9 minutes.
Yeah.
And that's from a cold start. If you're going in from a hot start, you have to kind of keep an eye on them. But they come out nice and dry and crisp and crackly.
Yep.
And I won't chew on it right now because I don't want to crunch your guys' ears up. But
and we buy the corn tortillas that they have at our Costco, but like Trader Joe's has a good, corn tortilla. You just want to, look for one that's just like
not a bunch of it. We have used the Mio
corn.
Rancho at Costco.
Yeah.
Mio Rancho at Costco, and the main ingredient it's corn.
Right. So you can make your own chips. You can heat up some of this chili, and then you can put this chili on top of the chips, and then a vegan cheese sauce. And we have a recipe for Donna's vegan cheese sauce that's on the blog, or there's a jalapeno queso sauce in my Mexican Fiesta cooking webinar, or you can take Donna's recipe and just add some jalapeno to it and a little bit of diced tomato. And then on top of that, put cilantro and chopped green onions, and it's delicious. And you've transformed the same meal completely into something different. So if you don't want to do chips, you can put this over a potato. You can put it over either Yukon Golds, a regular just garnet yam is good, or one of these Japanese sweet potatoes, because I like the contrast of the sweet in the sweet potato with the spicy of the chili. That's so good.
A comment on the chips, because it's just the corn chips coming out of the oven. We don't put anything on them.
Right.
Of course, there's no oil for our way of eating, and we don't salt them. And what's amazing is how flavorful, how wonderfully flavorful the corn chip is. You're not tasting salt and oil. You actually get to taste the food, which carries across everything here. But
right.
It's a pretty, when I first started eating them, it's like, wow, this is what corn chips really taste like. These are good.
Yeah, because your tongue's not getting coated with oil from fried chips, and so you can actually taste the corn in them.
And not just salt. Yeah.
Right, and they're so delicious. So that's really fun. Then we also do corn on the cob, and we do that in the Instant Pot, and I have a video on that, and you can probably link to that too. And you can do the corn, certainly in the microwave. You can do it in the air fryer, but we actually prefer it to be cooked in the Instant Pot. The air fryer, although it's good, it dries it out more, and we like it to be more moist, I guess. So we really love it cooked in the Instant Pot. Now we're able to buy organic corn on the cob at our Costco. It comes, I think it's 8 to a package, and we do that in the Instant Pot. I cook them all at once because we'll cut this off to go in our big, beautiful chopped salads that we make out of these. And we like to add them to, we will make a burrito bowl, and we'll use rice or quinoa or oat groats. I love oat groats. I cook them. My friend Sharon McRae taught me how to cook them in the Instant Pot so that the oat groats come out like brown rice, but they're a little bit sweeter than brown rice and a little bit, I don't know, just a little bit softer, but they're very delicious. And so I like to use them in a savory way instead of for breakfast, because I don't eat breakfast. And so I'll take, for a burrito bowl, you can take the brown rice or the quinoa or the cooked oat groats that you cook in the Instant Pot, and Tom can link to those, with some of the taco lentils and then some of the fresh corn, and just cut that off of the cob, and then some of the salsa and some of the cheese sauce.
Does the cheese sauce freeze well?
I have never tried freezing the cheese sauce because we eat it. Now, I will tell you, if there's a week where I want it and he's like, yeah, I probably won't eat it this week, then I will make half a batch, because I can eat half the batch in a few days. But this week, honey, you're eating cheese sauce.
Well, there's chips ready to go right there.
Right?
I think that's going to go with dinner tonight.
Dinner,
yeah.
there you go.
My Mexican salad cheese sauce.
So I don't know. I've never tried freezing the cheese sauce. So what I suggest that people do is freeze a small amount of it and see how it does. That way you're not ruining a lot of it if it doesn't work. But it seems like almost everything freezes well. I just don't know if it will separate and not go back together. I don't know, because I haven't tried it. So also with the chips and the taco lentils, there again, you can make your own nachos, which is super delicious. You can take the did I already say this? I can't remember. If I told you, I like to take a potato, do the smashed potatoes in the air fryer so they're nice, crisp, and crunchy, and then heat up some of the taco lentils and heat up the cheese sauce, and then pour the taco lentils over the crispy fries, and then the hot cheese sauce over the top of that, and then salsa and green onions and fresh cilantro.
It's better than anything you can get in any restaurant.
It is. It's so delicious. So, and as you can tell, we love Mexican food. And when you live in California, you know, there is so much Mexican food, Southwest flavors, and we absolutely love them. Yes.
Couple of questions.
Okay.
Quick, easy one, then we'll go to the other one. Where do we buy our oat groats? Whole Foods, from the bulk bin.
Yeah, it's the only place that we've been able to find them locally. Yeah. We searched like even the health food stores here in California don't carry it. So do we have
people
them?
Don't know about it. We did a was that a video, oat groats? What are oat groats?
Yes, we have a video all about oat groats, and we also have a blog post. So and the video is in the blog post, so we can post the oat groats. Are you making notes so you know what to post?
You're a little bit ahead of me. And then also there was a question, and I'll catch up on those. The thing, we go back and rewatch this, and then we drop stuff into the description box.
As we can.
You know, so if you come back tomorrow, there'll be more information in the description box than there's going to be like in the next hour.
Right.
The question is, on the weekend when you're preparing this stuff, about how long does it take?
You know, it depends on what I'm making, and I used to do everything in one day, and I haven't been doing everything in one day anymore. Sometimes I actually spread things out. This week I think I did things like on 3 different days, 3 different mornings, because today I made the salsa, cheese sauce, and the taco lentils. So, and then I did the corn and the soup and the potatoes one day, I think. I can't remember. So, you know, you can do it all at once if you want, and it depends on what I'm making. I can tell you that the salads take me about 45 minutes to an hour to put together all 10 of the salads. It goes quicker if Tom helps me do that, but if I'm doing it on my own, that's about how long it takes just to do the salads. But I will, you know, I'll start the things that don't require any attention first, like put the potatoes in the oven and anything that's going to cook in a pressure cooker, and I'll get those things started first, and then I'll make my salads. And then by the time I get my salads done, those other things are done, and so I can take those out and put them away and do my dishes. So maybe, it might be total like 4 hours of, doing it, but it doesn't all have to be in the same day either. Like Chef AJ, she makes things as they run out. So she'll make enough food to last like 3 days, enough potatoes or whatever, salad, and then when she's about to be out, then she will start batch prepping again for another few days. So it's, work it in wherever it will work for you. Okay, so now the cauliflower bisque, and this is sweet potatoes, cauliflower, onion, and seems like there's something else. But anyway, it's really delicious, and it's a creamy soup because you blend it when it's done. And so Tom likes to fill his bowl with rice and then add the soup on top, and then we'll heat it up. I like it with either wild rice. I like to make wild rice, and I have a blog post. I think I have a video too on how to make wild rice in the Instant Pot, and I will freeze it also. And so I like to take the wild rice because I like the nutty, chewy flavor that it has, and I'll put that in the bottom of my bowl and then put the cauliflower bisque over the top of that and enjoy it that way. And if you have some greens, then it's fun to put a little bit of arugula on top or some spinach when you're heating it up, and then that will wilt the greens, and that way you get your greens in there as well as all the veggies that are in there. Okay, any other questions?
Well, I've added the oat groats, and I'm putting Donna's cheese sauce on here now.
Okay, great.
And the oat groat, yeah, I did on our Amazon page, we do have the oat groats page, and there's different sizes in there, so the links all take you to the same place. You have to choose what size package you want.
So then another thing that's like quick and easy that I love to do is I will water saute an onion, and it can be a red onion or a yellow onion, and then I will throw in some fresh mushrooms, and when those are about done, a little bit of garlic, and then whatever vegetables I have. So if I have spinach or kale, which this past week it's been kale a lot, I've chopped up kale and I'll throw the kale in there. If I have shredded carrots, I'll put the shredded carrots in there. I love bell peppers. If I have bell peppers, zucchini, I'll throw it in there. So, or if I have things that are about to go bad that need to be cooked, whatever it is, I'll throw it in there. The little tomatoes, when they start to shrivel, those are perfect to throw in there. And then I'll put the lid on and let the veggies kind of steam in there, and then stir that all together. And then that can go on a potato, that can go on rice, it can go on a sweet potato, it can go on quinoa, whatever starch I have, or just some beans can be tossed in there with it. If I have my Alfredo sauce, I can put some of the vegan Alfredo sauce in there and stir that around. If I don't have that, then some of the vinegars, the California Balsamic Sweet Heat is one of my favorites. I love this on virtually everything. Or if I do something that's a little bit lighter with like asparagus and green beans and zucchini and some greens, then this garden dill mustard seed is fantastic. And that's the California Balsamics. Like Tom said, we have a video on that. And Thomas, we don't have any kind of affiliate with him or anything. We just love his products. And if you order from him, then online you can put Nutmeg Notebook in the comment section on the checkout page, and he will send you 2 free sample bottles. They're small little sample bottles of vinegar, and you even get to decide what flavors you want to sample. So he has great customer service and wonderful products. Then this balsamic Napa Valley Naturals Grand Reserve Balsamic is also one of our favorites. This one is a little bit easier to find locally for people. So our Whole Foods sells it, Sprouts sells it, some grocery stores will have it, or some health food stores. You just have to make sure that you're getting the Grand Reserve because they also have just a regular vinegar. And the nice thing about these vinegars, these balsamic vinegars, are they're low acid. They're only 4% acidity, so they're not astringent. They're more on the sweet side. So even people who don't like vinegar oftentimes like these, because this is nothing like regular vinegars. They're just delicious, and they're great on grains and beans and greens and your cold salads, hot food, whatever you have.
On the vinegar, Grill Girl is asking, is there any sugar in the vinegars? How many grams?
The natural sugar from the grapes, and they're usually around, I think it's like this one is 8 grams of sugar in a tablespoon, and that if there's no added sugar in these, but because these are reduced and concentrated, that's why they have that much sugar in them. So like Chef AJ says, to condiment responsibly. So I usually don't have more than 2 tablespoons of vinegar a day because they do have quite a bit of natural sugar in them.
But that's going on like an entire pound of salad.
Right, exactly.
And it's far less, we don't count calories, but that's far less than you would get from a oil-based salad dressing of any kind.
Well, it's the sugar.
Yeah.
Because there is a lot of sugar added to commercial salad dressing. So another thing that I do is this is chopped garlic. So when I was prepping over the weekend and I was chopping up a lot of garlic, I went ahead and chopped up one of those little packets, from like Trader Joe's, and put it in a jar to put in the refrigerator, just so this week while I'm sauteing vegetables and I want a little bit of garlic, I don't have to get the garlic out and get out a cutting board and a knife. So I try to work smarter, not harder, and have things prepped. Also, when I'm prepping like red onion and slicing it for our salads that we turn into chopped salads, then I'll go ahead and slice up another onion and put that in a container, and we will already have that in the refrigerator. So when I go to saute some vegetables and I want to saute an onion and some mushrooms, I already have the onion cut up, because a previously cut onion and some garlic is good for a few days.
I have a question from Pat. She got the rice cooker that I mentioned that we have, so I assume it's the Aroma rice cooker. Any tips for making perfect brown rice? A couple. We do rinse it, 2 or 3 times before I make it, because that gets rid of the excess, whatever starch is in with the rice, and you get less bubbling and so forth inside the pot, so it keeps the lid cleaner. Is one thing I noticed over time. And I do make the full 10 cups because we freeze. I'll get how many cups are these? 4 cups, and so that it will make 5 of these out of that one batch. So I'm getting 40 cups of rice out of that vat full. And one thing I've also learned over time is if you dispense that into these flat containers, while it's pretty soon after it's done, it's easier to get the rice in here and smooth it out. It's more pliable. If you let it sit in there, which I used to do, let it sit in there for an extra half hour to an hour, and then it was much more difficult to layer it in here. So
and the nice thing about the oblong containers is when you go to thaw it out, this thaws out quicker than
like
putting
that.
putting the rice in a container like this. And also for the refrigerator, for refrigerator space, because I know a lot of people don't have a large refrigerator. Our refrigerator before the one we have now was a side-by-side, and there wasn't a lot of space in it. So the one with the French doors has, you have a much bigger shelf space. But what we have found is if you do a lot more of the square or the rectangular containers, and like our salad containers are rectangle, there's a lot less wasted space because you can nest everything really close together. And so unlike the round containers, which seem to just take up a lot more space, and they don't nest close together like all the square things. So that's something that we have found. just to be able to get everything in the refrigerator. But we do have another refrigerator in our garage. So the old side-by-side is out in the garage. So when we get home from the grocery store, everything goes in there, and then I come in, bring stuff in as I'm going to prep it, and then once it's prepped, then we put all the prepped food in here. That way, at the end of the day, a lot of times I'll get home at 6 or 6:30, and I have no idea what I'm going to eat. And you know how when we were on the SAD diet, the standard American diet, I used to meal plan around an animal product, and I would decide, you know, what animal product I was going to make, and then the side dishes to go with that. Now, on this food plan, I start with, what starch am I going to have? And then I build my meal around the starch. So I'll open up the refrigerator and go, okay, do I feel like a Yukon Gold? Do I feel like a Japanese sweet potato? Do I want rice or quinoa? You know, and then I'll build my meal from there and add veggies and other yummy stuff to it. So, yes, we're almost at an hour.
We're almost at an hour. How are we cooking our squash? And it kind of depends on what kind.
Yeah,
our favorite squash, as she was showing you earlier, is the kabocha squash, and that is 20 minutes in the oven at.
Well, it depends on what I have going. Yeah. If I'm doing potatoes, I do potatoes at 400, and we'll put it in with the potatoes. If we're not doing it with potatoes and just doing it by itself, then like 425 gets it nice and kind of caramely. And how long depends on how thick you cut it, but usually around like 25 to 35 minutes. So it just depends. It also depends on your oven, how hot your oven is. And so if I'm cooking that in with like 2 trays of potatoes, it'll take longer.
And I'm cutting it into these crescents. We go in, you know, pre-cut with, you know, with these crescents cut raw. And so they cook more quickly that way.
Mm-hmm. And then they'll stay nice and moist, but and depending on the placement in the oven, they can get like nice and caramelized and brown on one side. And that's always fun.
Sometimes we eat butternuts, but that's a different cooking method.
Yeah, it is.
So.
And I love to buy the butternut squash already cut and peeled at Costco in the wintertime when they have it, because
it tends to go into soups and stuff.
It does, yeah. But I'll oven roast it sometimes too, put it on a tray and oven roast it. But you kind of have to play with your own oven and see what temperature works, because you know some ovens run hotter than others, and then where you place it in the oven can make a difference as well.
BC's got a comment on here on maximizing refrigerator space.
Yeah.
She packs the rice into the freezer bags, and so they fit flat and you can stack them. And actually Chef AJ talks about that method as well. When she lived in her apartment, she was using that to get the max amount of food in the smallest amount of space. Yeah,
that is a great tip. And so you can do soups that way as well in the freezer bags with the Ziploc, so that everything is flat. So if you don't have room for containers like this, but we have an upright standalone freezer, so we're able to do that. And don't forget about frozen food, you guys. So Engine 2 has veggie burgers. They're only available at Whole Foods, but you can buy those and have those. You can buy frozen fruit and frozen vegetables, and they're perfectly delicious. And sometimes they can even have more nutrients than what you're buying fresh at the grocery store, because they are frozen right after they've been harvested, and they still have all their nutrients. So it's, you know, go ahead and buy some frozen vegetables. We use frozen vegetables. They're great to throw in some soup, or just heat up and add them to your Nourish bowl, or, you know, use them as a side dish with a veggie burger or with a potato. They, you know, they're great. There's nothing wrong with that. And oftentimes they're cheaper. So stock up the refrigerator, stock up the freezer, have some things in your pantry that you can pull from. And if you establish a few of your quick and easy meals that you can go to, sometimes it's hard to remember them. when you're first starting out. So make a list, put it on the fridge. That way when you come home at night, if you're stumped on what to have, then you can look at that list and go, oh yeah, I could make a Mexican stuffed potato, or oh yeah, I could make some chips and I could have nachos tonight, or you can make a Nourish bowl. So make a list of those quick and easy meals, and that'll help you stay on plan.
There's a conversation going on about reheating this stuff. We do use these in the freezer, but when we come in to reheat them, either if it's a pot on the stove or in the microwave, I turn them upside down, run a little bit of warm water over the bottom of it, and then this whole brick of frozen soup comes out in a very solid chunk. I prefer to use a small glass bowl in the microwave because the glass bowls, the clear glass bowls, do not seem to soak up any of the microwave energy. If you're using porcelain or a pottery-based product, which we have some of, though the bowls themselves take up some of the microwave energy, so it takes longer in my opinion to do that. But yeah, we're always reheating in glass or porcelain or in a stainless steel pot.
Never in the plastic. So we use a lot of glass, but for our salads, we use these plastic ones because we carry these with us in our cooler lunch bags, and glass would be really, really heavy, plus glass is more expensive. But we got these Snapware containers. They are glass on the bottom, and then they have the plastic Snapware tops, and so the bottom part is microwavable. Of course, we never put the plastic lid in the microwave, but we got these at Costco, and I think we have like 3 different sets of them.
I think I've got them on the Amazon page as well.
You do too? Okay. Yeah. But we just don't have enough of these to use in the freezer. But no, we never heat up anything in the plastic in the microwave, and also we never put these in the dishwasher because the heat from the dishwasher can cause the plastic to break down more. And so we hand wash all of the plastic containers as well.
Diana's asking whether we eat tofu or tempeh. I sometimes eat tofu. I'll add it to a veggie soup or something like that.
And I rarely eat tofu, and it's perfectly healthy and it's delicious, and it's actually under 600 calories per pound on the calorie density chart, but it's just high enough fat for me that it can cause me to gain weight. So I will have it occasionally in a recipe where, like, maybe I make a lasagna that will have a little bit of tofu. I make it like a tofu ricotta, like, for a family meal when the family's all coming over, or for entertaining. But I don't eat it on any kind of regular basis at all. I might have it maybe a few times a year when we're entertaining, because I have hypothyroidism, so I have a very sluggish thyroid, and I just gain weight quite easily. So I stay away from most nuts, seeds, avocado, and tofu. They're just not a part of my regular diet, and because I don't have them around, then Tom just doesn't get to eat them very often either. I mean, he could if he wanted to, but if to cut open an avocado for one person, that would be more fat than he would want to eat at one time.
I get
as well.
I get that when our granddaughter's here, and we open up one for her because she needs that right now. And then I eat the leftovers. So, earlier in the session, somebody asked us asked on the screen about making our own vegetable broth. But when Tami does salad prep and like she's cutting the romaine and stuff, then I gobble up the romaine hearts and eat those right down to the last little thin stump. And if she's ever peeling apples, then I'm scarfing up the apple peels. So it's hard for her to collect enough stuff to make veggie broth because I'm always eating the scraps. So I've often said I'm her private disposal unit. So
you are, yeah. So we do keep some higher fat foods around for our granddaughter, and then Tom does eat a little bit of tofu probably every week. You have a little bit of tofu. Mm-hmm. So, but I personally just can't eat them because I'll just gain weight, and I honestly don't miss them because I get to eat all this amazing delicious food. So I never feel deprived or feel left out, because I actually really love the food I eat. And they say that you crave the foods that you habitually eat. So because I eat more low calorie density foods, this is what satisfies me, and it's what I look forward to eating. I mean, if I don't get to have my big, beautiful chopped salad every day for lunch, I'm disappointed, because I absolutely love it and I look forward to it every day. And I really love the food that we get to eat for our evening meal as well. So, and there's so much variety, and we love ethnic food, and it's so easy to make delicious plant-based ethnic food that's healthy. So there's no reason to stray from it. So, you ready for me to wrap it up? His finger went like this. I don't know if you guys could see that. No, it's off screen.
Okay.
So you can see.
She totally blew my subtlety. I'm over here, doing the wind it up thing, and she's
so
stitching
funny.
me off.
So anyway, so I hope that this helps you guys to see how easy it can be to pull meals together. And I don't know if did I talk about the Japanese sweet potatoes? So
we had a question once on what's in there, but you mentioned them a couple of times.
Okay, because I love these on my salads every day. I usually have one of these on my salads. I like to air fry it and put it on my salads. We like them for snacks. In fact, both kinds of potatoes we like to have for snacks. And then we just like to stuff them with soup, stew, chili, lentils, whatever we have. Chickpea curry, I have a recipe on the blog for that. So they just, they're amazing. They're delicious and they're filling. And so that's how we eat them. Okay, so we really appreciate you guys watching. Thank you for being here. If you could click on like, that really helps our ratings on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel so you won't miss anything when we do a new video. And
if they click the bell, you got to click the bell.
That's what I was going to say. If you click the bell that's next to the subscribe tab, then every time we go live or whenever we have a new video up, you'll get a notification of that. Also, if you wouldn't mind sharing this, so you can click on share and you can get a link and you can put it on your Facebook page. Or if you belong to a plant-based Facebook group, if you would give us a little plug and share it there, then we can reach more people and help more people learn how to eat healthy. So hop on over to the blog as well, to nutmegnotebook.com, and subscribe, because subscribers get 2 free recipes that are exclusive only to subscribers.
Delnora, thank you for joining us live today. It's great that you're here. I think you maybe came in on the tail end of things. The question you asked about cooking time, we did address about halfway through the video. So go back and rewatch from the beginning, and you will catch a discussion on that from Tami. But thank you for popping in and saying hey or yay when you got here. Yeah,
this video will be saved to our YouTube channel, and so you'll be able to watch the replay if you missed anything. And it's going to be dinner time for us pretty soon, so we'll get the links up yet tonight for the different recipes and things that we talked about. So be patient, give us a little bit of time.
I've got some of them in now.
He's got some in already. So where those will be located will be in the description, and I think it says see more. So you'll need to click on the see more in order to expand that description box in order to see all of the links that we provide. So I'm Tami.
And I'm Tom.
And we help you get healthy and stay healthy, one meal at a time. Thanks for watching, you guys. We'll catch you next time, next Tuesday at 3 p.m. Pacific time.